My Blu-ray Collection Part 36. Ahoy hoy everybody, and welcome to part 36 of a look at my Blu-ray collection. Films, TV, I think that's probably all film and TV in this one actually. The only thing that sort of isn't in these shelves are box sets, which are multi-film box sets and multi-series of a TV show box sets. I think all this pile is stuff I've watched within the last month or two, more or less. Anyway, let's get cracking. So first up is Jack the Ripper. This was the ITV TV miniseries from 1988. So this was one of many... Oh, of course it's 1988. 100 years. Of course it is. You know, this was an house. They've worked out who the real killer is, and it is a popular theory that one has been pretty much debunked over the years. I won't spoil it by saying what their theory is. But Michael Caine plays George Aberline, who was the inspector who's investigated the case. Lewis Collins is his assistant. Jane Seymour's in it. Armand Assance, Ken Bone, Susan George. Really good, really well done. Enjoy it a lot. I had it on... I don't think I had it on VHS, but I had it on DVD. I think I've shown it to you on DVD, but this is a fairly recent purchase, certainly since I started my DVD shelves. Yeah, really, really good. This is Bait. I sort of teased this in a previous video. So this is a film by, his name has gone out of my head, Dominic Brunt, who's best known for being Paddy, or Marlon Paddy, I think, in Emmerdale, and that is his signature. It stars his wife, Joanne Mitchell, and Victoria Smurfit, all signed. It's really, really excellent film. I really, really, really enjoyed this. So Joanne and Victoria are friends who run a cafe type, did it say on here? Yeah, it's basically a cafe, but it's sort of a coffee and cakes type cafe rather than a greasy spoon type, in this indoor market in wherever it is, somewhere up north. And they're trying to raise a loan to expand. They found a property. They want, to buy it to expand into a proper cafe. The banks keep rejecting them, but then they bump into Jeremy, who says he will fund it, but then it turns out that he's basically a loan shark. So they turn him down, but he bills them for his time anyway. Ridiculous amounts with ridiculous amount of interest, typical loan shark behaviour, but it all gets very violent and murdery and killy, and it is really, 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 really good. Highly recommend it. It's a Wonderful Life. So this is one of a few Christmas films that I did actually already own before I did my Christmas quiz and bought a load of Christmas films. See past parts for that discussion. Because Black Star, the old internet retailer who used to do DVDs and Blu-rays, and I think they did music as well. It was, it used to be, you had Amazon, you had Play, and you had Black Star, and now we've only got Amazon, basically, of those. I used to use a lot, and they had a point system, and I used to get free stuff from them anyway. But then one year at Christmas, they sent all their customers the VHS of It's a Wonderful Life. So I had that, watched it, loved it. So when I was doing my Christmas quiz, I was really happy to pick this up on Blu-ray. This is the Platinum Anniversary Edition. It's got both the colourised version and the proper version, the black and white one, and a trailer. Only ever watch a black and white, never watch a colourised version. That's an order. But it's a magnificent film. Just so, so good. This was really good. This is Christine, based on a true story of Christine Chubbuck, who worked in a small town Florida news station. She's a really intelligent person, but just wasn't given the opportunities at the station. She wants to be on air and getting, juicy stories, and she just gets, the fates and, the kittens and those sort of stories. And basically, and this isn't a spoiler because it is basically why this film exists. She killed herself live on air, and this is sort of a build up to it and why it happened. It's really good, excellent performance by Rebecca Hall. This is Jackie. So this is a story of Jackie Kennedy, played by Natalie Portman, and it's basically an interview that she does after JFK's assassination, and it's just basically her story, the story told through Jackie's eyes. Brilliant performance by Natalie Portman. Really good film. Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. So this was the spin-off from Harry Potter, if you like. A prequel. Really excellent film. I have the second one. I have Crimes of Grindelwald. I saw it in the cinema. I have it on Blu-ray. I haven't watched the Blu-ray yet. It's not as good as the first one, but I'm sure most of you have seen this, so I won't go into any detail, but great film. Trainspotting, film I've loved. Again, and by again I'm referring to past parts, but parts I've recorded today. I've owned this on every format, VHS, DVD and now Blu-ray. Just a magnificent film by Danny Boyle, based on Irving Welsh's novel. I would hope most of you have seen this. If you haven't, you really should. It's just basically about a bunch of heroin addicts in Scotland, Edinburgh. I never remember if it's Edinburgh or Glasgow. I think it's Edinburgh. And it's basically their story, and they get involved in a little drug deal and what have you, but that's largely irrelevant. It's just the story of these guys. Just brilliant performances all round. Great soundtrack. Wonderful film. And then a few years ago we had T2, Trainspotting 2. When was this? 2017, which picks up on their story many years later after Begbie comes out of prison. I enjoyed this a lot. It was nice being in their world again. It's a very different film, but still a lot of fun. This I finished watching less than a week ago. This is the complete 11th series of Doctor Who. Another lenticular that doesn't do much. So this was Jodie Whittaker's first series. Right. I really love Jodie Whittaker as the Doctor. I really love Jodie Whittaker full stop, but I really love her as the Doctor. I really like the fam. So, Yaz, Ryan and Graham. I really like them. I liked the historicals. So Rosa Parks and... what was it called? Get the titles right. God, mate, don't make it easy. Demons of a Punjab and Rosa. Thought they were good. It was nice having proper historicals again. I didn't mind the sci-fi element in Rosa. I thought that was okay. The sci-fi element in Demons of a Punjab, bit unnecessary. But it was an excuse to be in that world, at least. There's some good stories in there. The spider one was very creepy. My problem with Doctor Who at the moment is the writing. The dialogue in particular. Chris Chibnall, who's the showrunner and who wrote most of these, or co-wrote, he has a tendency to spell things out, to tell rather than show. And that's poor storytelling. You should be able to just show what's going on and people will understand. He gives Jodie some really clunky explanatory dialogue that she struggles with, not because of her talent as an actress, or actor as we're meant to call them nowadays, not because of that, but just because it's badly written. So that is my problem with this era of Doctor Who so far. There's some good stuff in there. As I say, I love the team. I sat and watched all of these and enjoyed them. I listened to all the commentaries that are on here. I think there was 4 commentaries. It's not often I listen to commentaries nowadays, but I sort of wanted to hear more from the people behind it, and I enjoyed it a lot. But it's just lacking that certain something because of what I've just said. Ronin, which again I watched less than a week ago. I'm pretty certain I've shown you the DVD of this because it is one of the first DVDs I ever owned. I think I bought this after I'd already shown the DVD. Great film, John Frankenheimer film. It's funny because I haven't watched it basically since I bought the DVD, which would have been 20 plus years ago. When did the film come out? Was it 88 or 98? '88, I think. God, I thought it was a bit more recent than that. Let's double check that. I'm not happy with that. '99. Don't know where. That says 98. Anyway, produced 1998 in the United States. Yeah, so 1998. Just either badly printed or written wrong on there. Anyway, it's tiny. I was looking down there. So yeah, it's probably came out. Oh yeah, no, that's when I added it. Ignore that. Yeah, so I probably got the DVD of it in 99 or 2000-ish. So it's 20 years basically since I watched it. Still loved it. It's a really excellent film. Highly recommend it. What I found strange was, at time of release, everyone was lauding the car chase scenes, which are really, 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 really good. But now, having had the Bourne car chases and the Quantum of Solace one, which was basically a rip-off of the Bourne ones, these look really tame. As I say, really well done and very enjoyable, but given how much they were lauded at the time, they seem tame nowadays. But brilliant film, highly recommend. Terry Gilliam's Tideland. I was pretty much unaware of this film. I was going through the last Arrow sale. This was an Arrow release, and this is an Arrow release. I was going through the last Arrow sale. I think it was buy one get one free, and I was picking up stuff I wanted. And, oh, Terry Gilliam! I have to get that because I like Terry Gilliam a lot. So I ordered it. I can see why it hasn't had a lot of attention, because when I'm going to tell you the plot, you're going to think, ooh. But bear with me. So it's adapted from a cult novel. So Jeliza Rose is a 9-year-old who's got junkie parents, Jeff Bridges and Jennifer Tilly. Jennifer Tilly is trying to recover. She's on methadone, but she dies, basically. So Jeliza and Jeff travel to his mum's barn, so her grandmother's. I say barn, it's a proper house, but it's in the middle of nowhere in rural somewhere, deep south, well, south anyway. And she's dead, so they go into this empty house. He takes a hit and he overdoses and he dies. So she's basically there alone, but he's there in his chair, and she knows he's dead, but she's carrying on with him as if he's alive. She's exploring the area, meets a strange woman played by her name's just gone, Janet McTeer. And sort of comes friendly with her, but not properly friend. You know, Janet McTeer's character is sort of aggressive towards her, but then they sort of arrange to meet the next day. But then the next day she's not there, so she finds her house and sees that there's a younger man there as well, who turns out to be her brother. He's got special needs, and I think he had an accident when he was young and it damaged his brain or something like that. Bear with me. Turns out Janet McTeer was involved with Jeff Bridges in the past. So when she discovers that he's dead, she's actually a taxidermist. So she stuffs him basically so that they can all live together happily. This is where it gets weird, we're talking about a 9-year-old girl. She falls in love with... Has it got the character's name on here? No. The special needs guy, basically. Who's probably in his 20s at least. And we learn that he had been abused by the grandmother in the past as well. And it's all a bit... But none of it's done... It's not sleazy, it's not... It's all very innocent. You know, yes, there's no sex anyway. There's only kissing. But yes, technically it's a form of paedophilia, but there's no malice behind it. It's hard to describe. It's not what this is about even, you know. It's all just very... Because he's got special needs, it's, you know, he's probably got a lower mental age than her, because her mental age is probably above her age anyway. It's hard to describe without... I said bear with me, but trust me. Or you will watch, you know, I sat there thinking, ooh, but at no point did I think, you know, this shouldn't be made, or anything like that. It's hard to describe. Just trust me. It's a really good film. Brilliant performances all round. I'm going to say I enjoyed it, even though it did make me squirm at times. Yeah. And very Gilliam-esque as well. The 9-year-old girl, her friends are severed dolls' heads that she makes talk and what have you. Trust me, it's a really good film. Another Arrow release. This is Stormy Monday. This is another really good film. Mike Figgis' debut film. Set in Newcastle in the late 80s. So Sean Bean is basically a young man looking for work. He takes a job as a cleaner at this jazz club run by Sting. However, he does he says the right things because he's a jazz fan, and so he's given more and more jobs to do. First of all, just as a driver, and then other stuff. He meets and falls for Melanie Griffith's character, Kate, who is an American living in Newcastle, working a couple of jobs. She is the ex-lover of Cosmo, played by Tommy Lee Jones, who is this big American... He's a businessman with lots of shady business who is in the running to one day become president. That sort of character, if you know what I mean. And he's trying to Americanise Newcastle, basically. He's trying to buy up properties and put up, you know, his buildings and what have you. And one of the things he wants is the jazz club, but Sting's refusing to sell, and so there's gangstery type intimidation and stuff like that. It's basically a gangster film, but with a twist of it being in Newcastle. But it's really good. I was, you know, hooked and gripped from start to finish. Excellent performances all round. Highly recommend. And another great Arrow release, as is Waterworld. So this is the normal edition. They did a deluxe edition as well. So this has got the theatrical cut on disc 1, and disc 2 is the Ulysses cut. I watched the theatrical cut years and years and years, you know, sort of, I think I watched it on VHS when it came out to rent after the film was out. It didn't do much for me at the time, and I've sort of avoided it since, but I thought I'd give it another go. It was in the Arrow sale, so I picked this up. I watched the Ulysses cut, and I've enjoyed it a lot, actually. It's better than I remembered, and yeah, as I say, I enjoyed it a lot. Basically, all I can say, lots of extras on disc 1 on this. Huge, great making of, I think something 2 hour long or something silly like that, which I didn't bother watching. And various featurettes and other bits as well. But yeah. This is, I'm aware this part is a bit long. It's only 2 more, and then that's this shelf done. That's why I'm getting through it. This is Waking Life. So I picked this up in the Arrow sale. I basically bought it by mistake. I was getting it confused with A Passion Darkly, which I was going to get because Winona Ryder is in it. This was before Passion Darkly. This was his first, Richard Linklater's first animated type film. It didn't do much for me. It's a strange film, so it's basically a dream world, and it's sort of, you know, dreams within dreams within dreams, and various characters pop up and sort of monologue and then vanish. And I think it made me laugh out loud once, but by and large, I persevered and I watched it all, and I tried to give it my full concentration, but I kept getting bored and looking at my phone, you know, as that sort of film. I don't think I'm ever going to watch it again. And finally, we have Colette, really good film, starring my favourite actress, Keira Knightley. So this is based on a true story. So Sidonie Gabrielle Colette, played by Keira, marries Dominic West's character, well, as I say, it's a true story, Willie, who was this big, he was sort of a superstar in France in the, whenever it was, 19th century, whenever it was. He's a writer, sort of doyen of the art scene. He reviews, but most of his writing is actually done by a team of people. And Colette, he encourages her to write the story of her youth, basically, back in her village, and it sells really well. And, you know, it's the most popular novel in France, but he's getting all the credit and she's not, and he has affairs and what have you, because he's an artistic type and he's allowed to, you know. So she ends up getting involved in a lesbian relationship, basically, with Missy, played by Denise Gough, who's some countess, I think she is, but she's an early transsexual, you know, she dresses as a man and lives as a man. It's basically their story, but it's a really, really good film. Really, really good. Okay, that's it for this shelf and this part. Am I going to do the rest today? Yeah, that's not it. I'm going to move on to the next shelf, record them today, get them all out of the way. So keep an eye on the playlist for those. Thank you for watching. Like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you in another video. Thanks. Bye.